And we should be up here now in 1. And we're off. Let's see. So if you start with the red team, I'll take the blue team afterwards.
Sure. On the red team, we have Starbards. Their first ship, the Breadcrumbs, a Mobula. From left to right, we have a light carronade, a Banshee, a top mercury field gun, and on the right side, light carronade and another Banshee. Their ally, the Slip and Scrub, a squid, piloted by Montucky. It is a Gat Banshee squid with a rear flare gun.
Yep, and on the blue team, it is a TT, and they have a Mobula, the Armor Freaking Geddon, piloted by Mean Machine. And they have a Mercury up top, a flare and Armai on their starboard side, stage starboard, and Armai and a Carnade on the port side. And on the other ship, which is a squid, it is a Kitschy guy. It's piloted by Mr. Wildcards. It has a Gatling up front, Banshee on the side, and a flamethrower on the back. So let's see here. If I open up the map, you can see that the Mobula on the blue team is at the moment just positioning itself, it looks like, and the blue team has taken the ribs. So it looks like it's going to be some sniping action.
Yeah, so despite these teams having mirrored ship choices with Mobula and a squid on each side, there's a little bit of a difference between the red and the blue Pyramidion. You see on the Breadcrumbs, they've actually opted to go for a little more of a close-range focused build with, they do have that Merc in the center, but they have 2 Carronades and a Banshee, which are all fairly effective at brawling weapons, whereas the Armor Freaking Geddon on the blue team has opted to go with the more traditional Mercury with double Artemis. So I feel like maybe red team's going to be trying a little more aggressively to try to close the distance, at least if presented with the opportunity, whereas the Armor Freaking Geddon will be staying back a little bit more, since they only have the 1 carronade. And those carronades, very effective against Mobulas, so both teams will have to be careful about their positioning, make sure their balloon doesn't get knocked out. And a lot of it will be up to the squids as well. Just kind of like the squids are sort of, I'd say they're almost the initiators in this fight, although the Mobulas will probably be putting shots on first. Like, it will really depend on if the squid pilots decide, like, they kind of have 2 options, right? The squid can either try to engage the enemy Mobula, which is what you typically see because the squid abuses its close-range maneuverability, gets around it, above its gun arcs, etc. But we also might see a situation where the squid runs interference against the enemy squid, which would just leave the Mobulas to kind of brawl with each other. It'll be interesting to see how these ships end up splitting off against one another.
Yeah, so I hope we'll see some. If the squid should race off, we'll have probably even a 1v1 or a 2v1 situation every single time, and it could be interesting. Let's see now. There's the unpause has been made, and so we're just now waiting. See some shots here from the Breadcrumbs over to the Kitschy guy.
Yeah, this is a very, very standard positioning from these teams currently. You have blue up on their side of the map by the rusty ship, and red kind of over by the eastern ribs. And red team's actually there. It looks like they are going to try to be a little aggressive. They are pushing forward a bit. Kitschy guy is moving forward as well. It looks like Armor Freaking Geddon is going to be staying back in this fight, providing the long-range sniper fire. Kitschy guy going high. Sorry, I'm lagging a bit.
Yeah, there's a holder up on the Breadcrumbs. So now the 2 squids are now battling it out. So both the red teams have lost their thermal, and the Slip and Scrub is taking some permahull damage, while the Banshee is now kicking in the Kitschy guy. And then it looks like there's going to be...
Oh, Breadcrumbs was a huge ram on the Kitschy guy, actually doing a ton of damage, but not managing to save their ally. I'm really surprised that the blue, although I guess, yeah, there's actually a lot of sniper fire coming in from Armor Freaking Geddon as well, which probably led to the assist on killing the red squid. But Breadcrumbs is able to equalize, taking out the blue squid as well, but This has now kind of left them in a situation where the armor freaking Geddon has that superior long range fire, so Breadcrumbs needs to find cover. Uh, they've lost two of their engines. They might be like the sandstorm is a little bit of a curse and a little bit of a blessing because it did cover the spot for a while, but it also knocked out their engines. And now that the sandstorm is gone, they're sort of a sitting duck, kind of out in the open here, and he's popping some hydro, trying to go for a little bit of an upward dodge, but unfortunately, in Mobula v Mobula, the enemy Mobula is going to be able to match your vertical acceleration, so it can be difficult to use that to your advantage. Slip and Scrub's going to be coming in pretty quickly, so hopefully they'll be able to save their ally. But Kichi guy's coming in as well.
So you go to see the Gatling is now out on the armor freaking Geddon, while the armor freaking Geddon just killed the breadcrumbs, and the Kitch guy is now. There's now 2v1. Oh, it looks like there might now be a meat grind for the Slip and Scrub unless he can get away.
Yeah, Slip and Scrub actually doing a very good job staying behind the Geddon, not letting them flip around to get some gun arcs. But it looks like they're finally going to be able to, and now facing the full force of both these blue ships, I feel like they have an opportunity to get behind this rib here, and that might just give them enough time to repair their balloon and get away.
See now they might take a bump here in a second and lose loads of perma. Oh, there it goes. The Banshee's coming out here now. This might be a 3v3 versus or 3 points to the blue team here, and there it goes. Whew. I must say though,
Yeah,
this match goes in the favor of the blue team, which is the TT. But as you can see, the squid is lacking 2 members on the red teams who have DC'd. So it doesn't look like the Starbards are doing so well with their crews, at least not with the connectivity issues.
yeah, I think a lot of it also just the choice of the different choices of ship builds for these mobulas is playing a pretty large factor, because you see, like for instance, right now with blue team kind of approaching red, this is a very large open map, so having those more powerful long range guns gives you a pretty large advantage at the beginning of the engagement. You just have more firepower. Although Kitchi guy's maybe getting a little ahead of himself as the Slip and Scrub kind of flanks him from the left side. He's taking a ton of damage.
He pops some tar, but it does look like he obstructed his ally there from hitting the breadcrumbs instead of actually doing something with it. Well, now Slip and Scrub's armor is down again, and we'll see now. It should be up at any moment. If the AIs on that ship can do its job.
Yeah, now kind of the tables have turned. Armor freaking Geddon, they're out of their element. They're sitting here on red side of the map, and this squid is the squid might be able to get up behind them, and then there's not really anything they can do, especially with the breadcrumbs lending in more support fire, and that actually will tie up the series potentially for Starbard.
There goes now 3-3. That was a nice engagement. They took out the Kitchi guy who jumped ahead and went too far in. And since they have 3 Banshees on all the compared, or if you take it all the Banshees on the ships, they can do some serious hull damage when it breaks.
I feel like that was a little bit of hubris from the blue team. Is they pushed very hard into red spawn, and they seem to not see the Slip and Scrub coming in, so they sort of got blindsided. They're definitely going to have to be they started off pretty strong in this match, but they're going to have to be a little more careful, and that last engagement was a strong reminder for them.
So there we go. The red team is now taking the ribs again. Some flares are gone out in Dust Cloud, but it's now gone. So hope they can see each other, which they probably now can't because the dust clouds are coming in. But you can see that the armor freaking now has full perma, while the Slip and Scrub and the breadcrumbs have lost a little bit of their perma. So they have the advantage. Unless
Not too much though. They've only just lost a bit. About, I guess, 5 and 10% it looks like. But yeah, this is we see now that the score is even and we had a clean engagement for one side, both teams are now resetting to those standard positions in the ribs and by the rusty ship. So it's always interesting to see on certain maps, especially like dunes, where after an engagement, the teams go back to the same spots they were at the start of the match. It's interesting to see if the following engagement goes the same way, as it looks like, in fact, red team is pursuing the same strategy. They're going low under the sandstorm and pushing forward. So seeing if they take the same tactics or try something different. In this case, they just want to try this charge again, with the slip and scrub going pretty far ahead.
There we go. No, slip and scrap. Why did it do this? All armor, and there it goes. It's we shouldn't have chased that much. That was a bad choice by the squid, I think.
Yeah, it's something that would maybe work if the breadcrumbs was a more traditional long-range mobula, but with only the double banshees, they're just not going to have the same firepower at that range. They probably should have stayed a little bit closer. And now breadcrumbs again. He has to kind of retreat back to the ribs. This sandstorm probably going to clear this spot, but also damage his engines.
Look at it. Well, see now the Kichi guy is now on the mobile. His hull is down. The banshee is now coming out, and this looks like it's yep. That's the point there for the TT. They won over the Nano or the Starbards. So the Starbards now jump down to the loser brackets while the TT advances.